Okay, welcome to a tutorial. We just shot some footage using my cell phone of another cell phone and a piece of note paper, and we're going to superimpose a drawing onto the notepad in the footage, and then we're also going to create a little hologram animation for the cell phone to have pop up out of the cell phone. All right, so let's start by importing our two assets into After Effects. So Command I. Going to grab my Easter Bunny JPEG, and I'm going to import my hologram.mov. All right, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create my comp based on my hologram.mov. That way I can know that my frame rate, my frame size, everything just matches the footage already, because that's what I like to do. And to do that, because I don't have any comps already established, I can drag it down into my timeline window or onto this new comp icon, and there we go. There's my new comp with my footage in there. Okay, so straight away what I'm going to do is, just to get the process out of the way, I'm going to analyze this for the 3D camera. So I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to go camera. Oh, no. That's an effect, huh? 3D camera tracker. Drop that down on there. Now it's going to start analyzing in the background, but I want to go to advanced and I want to do the detailed analysis. Okay, so it'll start it over. We've only got 179 frames, so hopefully it'll go pretty quick, I think. Now while that's working, let's go back to our project panel and create another new composition. Because the frame rate of our hologram phone comp is 30 frames a second, I'm going to create this one at 30 frames a second also. And then I don't need this comp to be, I want it to be roughly sort of the same size as the phone. That's an iPhone 5, right?
4.
Good for you.
Thank you. It's not an S, it's just.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to make, and I'm going to make it a vertical orientation. So I'm going to make it, if I did it 16:9, this is one really cool thing. Let's make it 9:16. But now let's lock the aspect ratio, and it'll do the calculation for us now. So if I want to make this 600 wide, it'll calculate that as 1067 tall. All right, so that's what I'm going to do there. Now this is the hologram that's going to come popping up off the screen. So right now, let's create a shape layer. I'm going to go kind of a little bit slower now so that you can get this. I'm going to create a new shape layer that has a ellipse, and I'm going to just draw that ellipse somewhere in the middle, and I'm going to hold down Shift so it becomes a circle. With Shift still down, I'm going to hold down my space bar so I can try to get that circle pretty much right in the middle. At this point, color probably doesn't really matter. I'm going to go for a hologram that's pretty blue because he's got a blue case. We got a blue case on our phone, so let's just do a blue hologram. I'm going to have my stroke on that be a bluish color, maybe a little. Let's go with this color right here. And then on my fill, let's select another blue color but have it be much darker. Click OK. Okay, so there's my ellipse. I'm going to go ahead on my stroke, next to stroke, I'm going to make the stroke 7. No, let's make it 10. All right, now from here on out, the position, rotation, all that stuff, I'm going to do inside the contents of the ellipse. Okay, so under transform, so under the contents, I've got ellipse. I twirled that down. Now I'm going to do the twirl down of the transform of the ellipse shape in the shape layer. And I'm going to add a keyframe for the position of the ellipse right there. Now I'm going to go forward 10 frames. So Command Shift right arrow goes forward 10 frames. And I'm going to change the position of the vertical. I'm going to have it come up right here. Now I'm going to, so what that did was it took my circle right in the middle and it made it go out at 10 frames. Now staying inside the transform of the ellipse, which is down here, I'm going to add a scale keyframe. So my ellipse has come out and it's stopped right there, and I'm going to have this scale be right there also. Let's go back to the beginning of the timeline now and add another keyframe for scale and have it go, let's make it go 0%. Now that's a really quick animation. It's just going to go whoop. It's just going out like that. Let's add easing to that. So I taught you originally to add easy ease. And then I'm going to hit on my keyboard Command Shift K to bring up the speed of that. And right now it's doing the scale keyframe. I'm going to have to do this again for the position keyframe, but I'm going to have the influence be really high, like 85 and 85 on both of those. Click OK. Now under the position, I need to grab that position keyframe, do the same thing. Command Shift K, make it 85 and 85. Now what that's going to do is it's going to go snap out really fast. Okay. So I like that. I like that right now. I'm just going to leave that the way it is. Now under contents here, under the if I grab the contents, just collapse that ellipse 1 and go to add repeater. Let's add a repeater. So you guys remember how, if we add it out, we can like duplicate it a bunch of times. Here's how to take any number of repeats and turn them into a perfectly distributed circle so that they fan out in like a sun or a star or around in a circle. I'm going to make, let's do 6 copies and then hit enter. And then under the transform the repeater, no. Watch what happens if I change the rotation of the repeater. It'll rotate 1 and then 1 rotates that much more of the previous one, and then the next one rotates that much more of the previous one. You just get this spinning effect that goes out like that. That's not what I want. What I want them to do is fan around in a circle. So what I need to do is go to the transform of the ellipse and go to rotation, and here's how you fan them out perfectly. You take a full circle, which is 360 degrees, and then you divide that by the number of repetitions you have, which in this case is how many? 6. So 360 divided by 6, hit enter, and I screwed that up. Hold on, let me figure this out. Okay, I was really close to telling you the truth. All right, so right now what we've got is we've got this repeater, and each copy is offset by 100, which is causing this rotation to go really wonky. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to get them all to stack up on top of each other and be in the same spot, and then have them rotate out. So right now, the position of the repeater is throwing them out this way. And what we want to do is have it be 0 and 0 so that all the repeated shapes inside the layer are all in the same spot. Now what we do is rotate the repeater. See, if I start rotating it out like that, I can guess at it, which would be approximately here. Actually, it is there. But to calculate that, we would have to do 360 divided by 6. So if you're not very good at math, it can do the math for you.
So how did you stack those?
Under the repeater, transform the repeater, the position of the repetitions needs to be 0, 0. So they don't move anywhere relative to one another, but then we add that rotation and then they start to fan out. So we can do this, we can change this, we can make it 10. So if we want to do 10 copies, then we would change the rotation to 360 divided by 10, and then it spaces them out that way. Let's do 5. So we do 360 divided by 5. There. Now we've got a little star configuration. So if we watch our animation, boing, we got our little fan going out there.
Would there be a reason that the fan wouldn't work?
You need to have the repeater stacked below the ellipse. So you have, yeah, you want to have the repeater below the ellipse. No? Okay, let me pause this for a second. Come help me. All right. So now that I've got these coming out like this, whip, I'm going to duplicate this shape layer. So just select the whole layer, Command D. Now I've got a duplicate. At this point, I could click on my rotation and just rotate them this way. Now I've got 2 separate layers, right? Let's go into twirl down the contents of this duplicated layer, and under ellipse, let's change the let's change the transform properties of this and make it smaller. And let's duplicate this under the repeater. Let's make this more like, how many should we do? Let's do 10. And then we can have each one of these under the rotation of this one be 360 divided by 10. Okay? So now we have all of these coming out. Whoop. That was an accident. I accidentally, with my playhead over here, I changed the scale. So they're all growing out the same size, and then those extra 10 are getting smaller again.
Nice.
Okay, that was kind of a happy accident. All right, so let's keep that and maybe duplicate the layer again. Only this time, let's see what my keyframes are. Let's change the position of this keyframe and have it maybe go back in. So they all kind of start out that way. I don't like that one as much, so what I'm going to do is have this, I'm going to delete this keyframe and have them only go out that far and not have them go big at first, but just go right to their smaller size. Let's do less repetitions of it. So let's go to the repeater, make this one 8 copies, and then under the rotation of that repeater, make it 360 divided by 8 to distribute those out. Okay. So again, you could keep going more and more and more and more and have a lovely time. I'm just going to do, do a new shape layer. Right now, I'm just going to I'm going to make those all invisible and lock them up so I don't accidentally grab them. And let's do, this time, let's do a rectangle. And just draw, I'm just going to draw this rectangle right here. And so I've got the contents of this rectangle that I want to maybe rectangle path. You can change the roundness of that. So I can have this one start out as another circle. But let's just go ahead, go to the beginning of the timeline, and under the rectangle path, let's click size, position, and roundness. Okay, so right now it's totally round. But I'm going to go forward 10 frames, maybe 20 frames on this one. And now let's make the position shoot out. Let's have it shoot up again. And instead of roundness being super high, let's make the roundness 0 so it becomes a box again. And let's change the size to be not uniform, but let's have it stretch out and have it go like this. Maybe have it be 0, so now it's a line. So now it's going. Let's add another. Let's move this keyframe over and have this first size be 0. Okay, so what's going to happen now is it's going to start out at 0. It's going to come out as a circle, but then once it hits here and goes to the end, it's going to turn into a line with our roundness going like that. I don't know how effective that is. But on position, let's add our easing to our position and have our first and last keyframes have easing, so that if we hit Command-Shift-K and have it whip out, let's have it go 70-70 this time. Now it'll go whoop. That's kind of weird. It's okay though, I guess. Under size, let's add easing to the end keyframe, and under roundness, let's have both sides of that one ease. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's a little more interesting. Let's ease this middle size keyframe too, see what happens. I don't like that one as much. All right, cool. So I'm just gonna leave that. Now let's do the repeater again. So I'm gonna click on contents. Here's what you do. Click on contents first, then click add, then click repeater, and that'll put the repeater below rectangle. And then we can make this offset. Let's make this have 16 copies, and let's transform the repeater so that the position is 0, 0, and then we'll change the rotation like we did before, 360 divided by 16. Now I got this nice little star thing. Now, okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. Now let's turn the other layers on. All right, I want to put the line down on the bottom. Okay, now I don't know. Let's try changing the timing of these layers coming on at different times. See if that helps us. Do I like it yet? I don't know. I'm just messing around here now. All right, that's kind of fun.
So this is the hologram that's going to come up out of the phone?
Yeah, this is the hologram that's going to come up out of the phone. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I need to decide what my stacking order is going to be. I think because the line is the biggest and it's coming on first, I think I want that to come in first and be on top because it's the biggest, and I want it to kind of turn into, like, maybe the smallest layer will be on the face of the phone, and then as they get bigger they come up off the phone. Let's try that. Boink. All right, so we have this nice little animation here. Let's make all of these 3D layers now. Bloop, 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 bloop. All of them are 3D. Let's go to a 2-view horizontal, and now what I'm doing is on the left side I'm looking at all these from the top, and on the right side I'm looking at them all from what would be the camera view, but I don't have a camera. I'm just building these 3D layers to stack up on top of each other. And maybe what I should do is add one more layer that we can have sort of be on like a border layer. So let's just make a new shape with a rectangle. I don't have any other shape layers, no other layers selected. Let's just draw a rectangle around here. And for this one, let's make the fill, let's actually make no fill. So click on that, so no fill, and now it's just that stroke. And let's make the stroke lighter for this one. And let's make this 3D also, but put it on bottom, okay? Because I'm going to have that stay on the surface of the phone. All right, now let's just go here and have these come up. This way is going to be closer to us. This way is going to be farther away from us. So this being the surface of the phone, we want everything to come this way so that it stays with us. Let me lock this big square. I don't want to accidentally move that one, or the big rectangle. And let's take a look at this one. This one's pretty big. These are the small ones. This one's going to stay closest to the phone surface. So once all these are built, boink, like that. Let's have, starting right there, let's select all these 4 layers and hit Alt-P to add a keyframe. Okay, so they all have a position keyframe. And let's start by just pulling all of them forward slightly. So that's going to be, and I want them in 3D space to look a certain way. So right now they're all stacked on top of each other in a way that I think is fine for me. So let's go forward maybe 30 frames and change each one of these. Let's take the top layer, which is the big star, and pull it forward the most. Next layer is these smaller circles, the inner circle. So let's pull that off a little bit. If I go down to the next layer, it's this row, that the smaller circles that are offset. So let's pull that maybe to right there. And then let's pull the big ones and have that go right there. And then let's add, so right now they all come in at the same time and then they grow off and then they move off. All right, and one last thing for me is I'm going to add some rotation. So I'm going to select all 4 of those again, hit Alt-R to add rotation. I'm just going to go to the end. I think our clip was only like 6 seconds long, but I'm going to try a different rotation for each one of these. And in this situation, I'm going to have it be the Z rotation. So let's take that top one, Z rotation, maybe that much. Next one, Z rotation. Let's have that one rotate like crazy. That's probably going to be too much, but we'll see. Have the next one rotate maybe that much, and have the next one rotate maybe, well, let's have this one go the opposite direction. And let's take the first of all those rotation keyframes and just add some easing to it. Oh. All right, I made a mistake. So I'm going to grab those 4 keyframes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I messed up. Okay, that one needs to go that direction. Well, let's just see what this looks like. Okay. All right. A lot of circles. So I'm going to just grab these 4 keyframes that are at the beginning of that Z rotation, add ease, easy ease, F9. All right. Command A, let's hit U to just collapse all those down. Just collapse this one down also. All right, now let's go to our, you guys can keep messing around with this animation all you want to, do it your own way. But let's go to my hologram phone now. Let's see if we can find the surface of that phone and lock it up. Okay, so with the layer selected, if we go up to our effects controls and select 3D tracker, that'll show us all these. And we need to find a plane that looks like it's going to be the surface of that phone. And oddly, we might have to use a different frame. That's not working good at all.
Frame 303.
Frame 303. There we go. Frame 303.
Oh, if it's 93. If you're doing it that way.
Oh, 303 seconds?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That one worked pretty good. Oh yeah, that one's great. Oh yeah, see we got some triangulation right there. Bam. It's probably actually I think that one might be better. Okay, so I got my little disk there, right click on it. Let's create a null and camera. Then what we do is let's check this null and hopefully that's following pretty good. We shall see. Now, what I would do is take the hologram, or take this comp1, let's rename that holo, and replace the null object with it. The way you replace it is you have the null object selected in the timeline, and then you drag holo down from your project panel, hold down Alt, and you'll get that plus. And then when you release your mouse, it drops that in its place. Now what we have to do, check this out. Now what we're going to have to do is make it visible. So opacity 100. Right now, that's following pretty dang good. What's the problem though? It's not on the phone. So let's go to the anchor point for it and shift it over till it's on the phone. And then change the scale till it's roughly the same size. I can actually move it sideways, put it on there, and then I'm going to need to do some Z rotation to make it match up right there. That's pretty good. Okay. All right, that doesn't look so bad. All right. Now, here's how you get your pre-comped 3D animation to pull itself out and become a little 3D object with all the 3D pieces popping up. And it's with this redraw. Just like with vector objects, if you click on this, you can scale the vector object up and it'll redraw it over and over and over. But what this also does is it takes that 3D pre-comp and it breaks out its little pieces so that they show up in their own 3D space, the one that we gave it earlier. So now we can have our little animation come in on the phone face, and then they extrude out and they become little 3D objects that are following the camera. Magic, huh? So if I turn that off, it just becomes a flat layer with no depth perception. But if we turn that back on, then those 3D layers that we had coming out right here, let's put this back on the top view. This depth that we're creating with those 4 layers becomes apparent in this layer. Now I'm going to add a couple of effects to this. I'm going to add some glow. I'm going to turn the threshold way down. I'm going to have my intensity up. I'm going to glow colors. Yeah, sure, that's good. So now there's some funness there. Whoop. I'm going to go into that hollow layer and go to my position keyframes. I need to ease that because that's driving me crazy. So F9. And I like to add some additional easing. So Command-Shift-K, all 8 of those keyframes. And if I go 70-70, then it'll change the speed. Okay, this nested comp, this pre-comp, the way I'm quickly getting out to the hologram phone, the one that it's inside, I'm just hitting tab, and that's bringing up my flow chart. So there's my holo. It's inside hologram phone. So if I click on hologram phone, it'll show me hologram phone. That's how I'm doing that. Another thing we could do is I could add a blend mode, add blend mode to that. That's actually not doing it the way I wanted. Let's do screen or lighten. I like screen. Screen is good. But another thing I could do is I could experiment with some blend modes in all these layers and try doing an add on all these and then see what happens. See, now they're all interacting with each other. So as they cross in front of each other, you get that Tron effect where as they cross over one another, we've got some add. Let's make this glow intensity a lot harder. Glow radius. All right. Cool. Okay. Now let's see if we can get our little picture to show up on that piece of paper. You guys happy with that?
Real quick, can you re-go through when you transfer the comp to the track null?
Yeah. That's going back quite a ways.
You just said to click and drag and hold.
Yeah. So if let's pretend this hollow is my null object that I said I right clicked on it. I said create 3D camera with null object. I wanted to replace the null object with my pre-comped. So what I would do is with my null selected in my timeline, I would drag the hollow layer or anything, whatever I wanted to replace the null with, I would drag it down, and while holding Alt, once I let go, it would replace that layer.
Perfect.
All right, so let's go to my hologram.mov, go to my FX controls, select the 3D tracker again. Now we need to find a plane that's going to follow that paper really well. I thought I was doing good by putting those X's on there. It keeps trying to find places on the table. Yeah. It looks okay, but I want to get like that X, and that X to triangulate, but I can't. It's not letting me.
Can't like just force choose them.
Can you?
Yeah, you can hold shift and click each one.
Oh yeah. Doink, doink. There we go. Okay, that's it. Right click on that and let's just create a null. Boom, right there. See that little null? Now let's replace that null with my Easter Bunny. And got to change the transparency up to 100%. Okay, now R for rotation. Let's change the Z rotation so that it's in line with the paper. And let's change our anchor point so that it's in the middle. And now we're going to need to change our scale a whole bunch. And let's position it. Okay, now here's some compositing trickery. All right, let's take this bunny and let's give it a multiply blend mode so that it looks like it's actually on that lined paper. Okay, so that composites it a little bit. We also want to add some contrast so that the one piece of paper isn't having its effect on the other piece of paper. So I'm going to add some curves to the bunny. And let's lighten up lighten it up a whole bunch. Now let's take the mids. Yeah, let's just take that. All right. That little shadow going across is messing it up a little bit. But that looks okay because in video the pencil's not going to show up black, right? All right, so now let's do one last thing. I want to draw a mask around that bunny so that we're getting rid of that celebrating 100 years of learning and all that extra stuff. So let's go to the Easter bunny, double click on the layer itself. And let's use our pen tool to draw a mask around the bunny to isolate the bunny a little bit more. And cut out this outside the paper. There. And by default, I like to try and add as much feather as I can without cutting in or ruining this. So if I hit F for feather, add a little bit of feathering to soften that edge. All right, now let's go to our composition panel. See how that looks. Not that great. Let's add some levels filter to the bunny. And let's try to get that white to be white as much as we can. Really what we should probably do is go into Photoshop. Photoshop it better. Okay. All right, could be better. With more work, we could really superimpose that on there. All right, so now let's check our move, see how it looks. Pretty good. All right. Your assignment is to do something pretty much like that. In fact, if you successfully do exactly that, you'll get full credit. Okay.
100%.
Does that mean 100? Trevor really needs to know.
Maybe use your own picture. Put your own graphic here instead of the picture I supplied you with. Make it look like it's actually on the piece of paper. Put some more effort into that. Take your own liberties with these shapes and these arrays and make them draw in your own way. If you wanted to, we could, in theory, now that we've got this camera tracked, we could. Well, it wouldn't look very good, but once we get right here, we could like replace this layer with somebody, you know, we could shoot somebody on a green screen and have them run across the table, but their perspective they would remain flat. So I'd almost rather have a cartoon character because they can be flat. But yeah, anyway. 3D camera track this shot and put your own stuff in it.
What assignment are we submitting?
I'm going to replace. I'm either going to add an assignment or replace. Kind of chop the green screen assignment in half and have this be like 50 points and have the green screen assignment be 50 points, so that it's still the same number of points. But you should be grateful for this assignment because if you do exactly that, you'll get an A. And you can
only we know that.
you can get you can get 100 if you do your own image and do a different animation than that one.
Boom.
You have an opportunity for 100% with this one.
And then we can put that on Rate My Professor and everyone's
Yep.
like, how
It's
do you
like
get
he
100?
actually gave me 100% on something. And you know what? This is the kind of shot you can say, hey, look what I can do in After Effects, and people will be impressed. You put this in your portfolio. Say, I know how to do a 3D camera track. You know, maybe even let's take this one step farther and make a text layer. No. Let's make a new comp. Make this one 1920 by 1080. Click OK and say, do your write-on effect. Cool stuff. Were you hoping I'd do it? I considered it. All right. Yeah, and then you could just see how fast I can do this. I'm going to do this really sloppy like. Draw a mask. Too bad this mask is yellow. You can't see it.
Can you change your mask color?
Yeah. Change your mask color right here. M. Make it anything you want. All right. Go to my write-on effect. I'm going through this fast. Right on. Let's go make it bigger. 100%. There. Reveal. Mask path. Copy. Brush position. U. Paste it. That's way off. I love it. It's way off. Look how far off that is. Okay, let's move you to the first thing here, down there, over here, make it bigger. Cool stuff. Make it bigger still. All right. Now let's go to the hologram phone. I'm going to base this on wherever this thing is. I'm going to duplicate the Easter Bunny, take the mask off, and replace it with this write-on comp. And with this duplicated Easter Bunny selected, drag it down, hold down Alt, replace it. Now I need to delete all the effects off of that thing. And under rotation, I'm going to make the orientation 0, 0, 0, and the rotation 0. And let's bring it over here. I still can't see it. That's because I got multiply transfer mode, blend mode. Let's just Bring it really, really close to the camera. Okay, now let's see what's happening. Cool.
Stuff.
All right. I need to make that right on happen faster because the camera's leaving before it's on. All right. Cool stuff. Let's move it this way. Back it away a little bit.
Stuff.
And stuff. It's on. It gets on. I'm going to add motion blur to that. See, add motion blur to that one, and let's add motion blur to the Easter Bunny and to the hollow. See how it moves now. Now there's just a little bit of, there's rolling shutter effect going on in my footage. All right. Not so bad, right?
Not at all. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool stuff. All right. I think that's enough for this hour-long tutorial. Ha! That was only an hour.
Well done.
I thought it was, well, less than an hour. I thought it was going to be longer than that. All right. So to submit this assignment, you're going to need to just send me a video file. And if it's bigger than the hologram phone.mov, you're going to get docked, okay? Because it shouldn't be any bigger than that. That's only 13.4 megabytes. So this one really should be like 7 to 10. Yeah. All right. Thanks, friends. Love you.